Verse 12. But if it's stolen from him, he shall make restitution to its owner. If it's torn by beast, let him bring it as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what has been torn. If now he knows, right, that this animal was stolen from him, and he was supposed to, okay, and he didn't do anything about it, then he needs to make restitution. But if it was torn by beasts, then he need to bring the animal, like they took Joseph's clothes ultimately, to the owner and show him, right, that this was torn. Here's the evidence. Here's this cow, your calf, your donkey, whatever. It's been torn by a lion or a bear or whatever, and here's the evidence of it. And if he then can bring the evidence, because what is he supposed to do? Then he does not need to make any restitution. Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of how Jacob would, when he was taking care of Laban's sheep, and he told Laban, when animals were killed by wild animals, he made restitution for it. Although here now there's a law. Now the law doesn't work retroactive. So in other words, you can't take this law that's now being given and put back. But seemingly as well, they had that same kind of concept, even in those days of Jacob, that animal, like here, is now coded into the law basically. When it's being torn by a wild animal, that you don't need to make restitution. Jacob was basically then seemingly no need for him to do. In this case now, nobody does need to make. So if you can prove, you can bring this. You didn't eat the animal, and now you say, oh, a wild animal stole it, tore it apart or something like that. But here is the proof this happened. Then you do not need to make restitution, because the idea is that a lion comes for it. You're not going to fight the lion, idea, right? Or the bear, because your life is more dangerous. Life is more worth. But then actually interesting as well. Here, David, when he spoke about Goliath before he went to attack Goliath, he said, "No, bears and lions came for these sheep, and he protected them." Okay, so although he had no need to do it, but he did. Same kind of like Jacob was. Verse 14. If a man borrows anything of his neighbor and it is injured or dies, the owner not being with it, he shall make full restitution. If the owner was with it, he shall not make restitution. If it was hired, it came for its hiring fee. Okay, so now what happens here? Someone, in this case, is someone not being given an animal to look after while I'm on holiday, kind of idea, right? I have some plants at home, and now can you look after the plants while I'm gone, kind of idea. I have my dog or cat that's at home. Where can I leave the dog or the cat while I'm going on holiday? I don't have plants, so I don't have cats or dogs. Yeah, then what? That was the previous case, okay? More like something like this. In this case now is, right, I need the ox to work on the farm. I don't have my own, so what do? I have some money, I can pay for rent. Okay, I go and I rent a car. Or a motorbike or whatever. And if something happens to you, rent a motorbike and something happens to that motorbike, who is then guilty? Do you pay for it or don't you pay for it? Is it covered by insurance or not covered by insurance? Now I can tell you, if like renting in general a motorbike, I remember in Thailand and then being in a slight accident, kind of a friend and falling over, a brother. And so yeah, we ultimately had to pay like 50 baht for, because I think I had already lots of scratches and they were like kind. But yes, you kind of need to, but that's in that situation, okay? Now in this situation, what happens then? If you borrow, so you ask for the dogs, what happens? Or you rent you work for, you're a taxi driver, you don't own the cars, you lease it from a company, and what happens to if you are in an accident, who pays? Right, so this is so what happens if you're renting and it's injured or it dies with the owner not being there? So in other words, part of the contract is the owner just trusts you, he gives you, but he is not going with it. So he's not coming with to look after his own oxen, for example. He gives the oxen, the contract is just, he gives the oxen to you, get it, you use it, you're responsible for it fully. In that sense, if something then happens, you need to make full restitution. If the owner was not there. Verse 15. But so if the owner was with it ultimately, right? So your contract was that the owner will be with you you will, right, the owner was with you, and yeah, sorry, I'm just a little bit off there because I could look at that side and there was a guy standing in the grass just peeing, kind of going to the toilet. Anyhow, okay, so so if the owner was with it, so in other words, the contract was a question of, okay, you borrow, but you borrow me as well. I don't trust you enough to. This is my favorite oxen. I need it so much. I don't want something to happen to it. So I am part of the contract. I will take care of this contract. I will go with. I will like you. Yeah. Like I used there in Russia, for example, to in the beginning of the potato planting season. One of our neighbors with his tractor, and he would then plant the potatoes with the tractor. He'd come and plow the field, and we had a potato planter, unlike other people in the village, because we plant so many potatoes. But so he will then come and on his tractor. He didn't like just bring the tractor, and although I can drive a tractor, he didn't give it to me that I was. He was kind of part of the deal, right? So understandably, if the owner is in part of the deal, then that what you need to pay will become more than if he's not part of the deal, because ultimately the owner is going to basically work with that animal the whole day. So you're paying for his work and the animal's work. So in that case then, there's no need for restitution. So if the owner's there, something happens, no need, because he, as part of the contract, said, I will take care. Yeah, all that you need to do, right, if you hired it, is you need to pay the fee. That's all, okay? The owner takes responsibility. You pay more than just if it's an ox, because the owner works as well, and he takes the responsibility of himself for anything happening to this animal on himself. And so you don't need to make restitution. All you need to do is understandably pay the fee that you agreed upon for hiring the animal plus the owner at the same time. So yeah, it's oh, there's this guy's playing with a kite now, kind of boys. Playing with the kite. And yeah, so just since Darjeeling is in that direction, like basically direct north from here, Sikkim is like northeast from here, but just next to, sort of just north of, I mean, Darjeeling is is closer to the Nepal border than Sikkim. Sikkim borders. Okay, Sikkim borders Nepal like Darjeeling, like West Bengal borders Nepal. But I mean, Sikkim is more on the western, closer to the border than, say, Gangtok, which is more closer to the Bhutan border on that side. That's kind of why I'm. So it's Darjeeling is pretty straight north. Then Gangtok is so Pelling would be in Sikkim would be straight north from here as well, basically, because it's just north of but Pelling is in west Sikkim, and then Gangtok, where I went, is like on the other side. Okay, so there's some buffaloes over there on the other side. I think a guy, a boy or whatever, a good guy, and some goats on that side. And there's like a cricket pitch as well on the other side, but there's no consist. Last night riding over the bridge, I just saw people playing cricket. At this moment, it's today the 15th of November 2025, South Africa, second day test against India in Calcutta, actually. If I knew that they're playing in Calcutta, I wouldn't have bought a ticket to go to Bangalore. I might have gone down to Calcutta. I've never seen a test match, any test match, and well, I'm kind of close here because Calcutta is in West Bengal and the capital of West Bengal. But I didn't know, I didn't check, and well, anyhow, because I need to go then and up ultimately to Mumbai and fly from there to Nairobi. Right, so this is kind of the view here. Yeah, I need to kind of get going because the train arrives just after 2, which is about an hour and a half. But I think it's a little bit late, running off the schedule. I've been sending me SMSs that they're a bit behind schedule. So yes, that's it.